Okay, Packet 2, standards A1D. It's a readiness standard. You're being asked to represent relationships among quantities using models, tables, graphs, diagrams, verbal descriptions, equations, and inequalities. So this has got a lot in it. There's a couple of videos that you are going to be able to watch. Other than the one that you're watching right now, you'll be able to watch one where you can learn how to solve inequalities, how to graph inequalities, also a review on entering points into your calculator, which is called the Scatter Plots on Graphing Calculator. And those are just in addition to this video. Those are going to be very, very beneficial for you. So, I really encourage you to watch those next. On this SE, we've got 3 questions that were on the benchmark or on the EOC last year. Number 8, it asks which table shows the same relationship. Anytime they ask you which table, how do I get to a table? I go enter the equation into my calculator and I look at the table, which is by hitting second graph or second table. And then I can just match up. I always look at my x value and see if the y value matches up. And then I look at my x value and look and see if the y value matches up. And I go through the entire table and make sure that they are all the exact same. And so that's how you would solve number 8. I'm going to skip down here to number 25 first. On number 25, you have multiple representations here of these points that are given. And so the way that we look at the multiple representations, well, first we have to know what they are. The first one is a graph. We can always look at a graph by plotting these points in our calculator and seeing if it makes the same picture, or just check right here and see if they're plotted at the same spot. So I would go look at -4, 32, and I would scroll over -4 up 32. Well, that's off of our picture, so I don't know for sure if that's there, but I can look at the others. 3, 4, over 3, up 4. Over 5, up 14, and so on. And so I would literally make sure I match them up. Always make sure you're looking on your graphs at your intervals, though. Sometimes your x and y axis are not going by ones, and so just make sure when you have a graph that you always look at that. Okay, the next one is a table. And so again, we just match up our x and our y values. This has h of x, and another way to do that is just mark that out and put y. F of x, h of x, any kind of function notation, it just means y. Okay, our next representation is going to be this one right here, which is b, and that is just an equation. What do we do anytime we see an equation? Plug it in our calculator. So again, I could mark out this h of x and put y. That's y equals. I plug it into my calculator. I can look at my graph from there. I can look at my table from there and see if they're all the same thing or if they match up with these exact points up here. And then the last thing is mapping. Mapping is where you have your x values and, again, your y values. And we just match them up. So this would be a point 732. Let's go up here and look if I have 732. Sure enough, I do. This would be 514. Sure enough, I do. 3, 4. Sure enough. And then -4 with 32. So that matched up all the way around. And that's what you want to do, is you want to see if all of them match up on all of your answer choices. And so that's multiple representations, and you'll be seeing that a lot in the test. Just make sure you knew that. The video that's also on this section, which is Scatter Plots on Graphing Calculator, it again reminds you how to put these points into your graphing calculator to get a graph. And so that's always very beneficial as well. So make sure you watch that video. Alright, let's look up here at number 50. 50 is an inequality, and the reason I know it's an inequality is because I have a shaded side. Okay, immediately when I see a shaded side, I know I'm going to be using an alligator. So for an alligator, I need to know that my signs, I've got a less than sign, a greater than sign, a less than or equal to sign, or a greater than or equal to sign. When you have the lines underneath your alligator, that means that it's also equal to it, and so you're going to be using a solid line like this one did. If it was a dotted line here, just dots all the way across, then that's whenever you use the top 2 alligators because they don't have a line underneath. And so that a lot of times will let you eliminate answer choices right off the bat before I even look anywhere else in the problem. So immediately I know that I can eliminate answers that don't have a line underneath, which here they all have a line underneath. Okay, so we didn't get to eliminate any from that. But now we go look at which side is shaded. This means that it's going to be shaded above, which means greater than. And if it was shaded below, it would mean less than. And so I always put my pencil right on my starting point, and then that's how I decide which one's greater than. Greater than is up, less than is down. But these have to be solved for y first before I can look at that. So I'll let you go through those on your own. 8, 50, and 25, we're going to be doing those in class. But I wanted to go over the basics. And again, there's a video to follow talking about how we solve inequalities for y and how we graph them. And so please watch those videos to understand more about number 50. The main thing that's not covered on the following videos is just making sure that you plug in equations into your calculator and look at your tables and just match them up. That is a lot of time the easiest way to do these problems.